In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful. Well, going to page 205, we have the role of universal grammar in learning. We are not going to cover this page, and the coming page, page 207, 206. Well, it is a bit related to psychology or ilm al-nafs. We are now going to continue that. Well, going to page 207, we have complete from the beginning or developing with time, a new kind of discussion. So what happens to the child? Well, let us see. To begin with, we have a baby talks like 35 and say 36 and the figure 5.2. Let us see. In English, babies actually say something like this: mommy push baby. They don't say mommy is pushing the baby. They say mommy push baby. They don't say mommy is pushing the baby. Or they say something like 36. Mommy is pushing the well, they don't say something like number 36. Thank you. Excuse me, I made a mistake. Well, there's a list of actually child, in fact, directed language, which is something like this. First of all, of course, I have to say something like this, that the children have learned, as you remember from my previous, in fact, semester, the children actually develop I suppose we didn't teach you something like first language acquisition previously. So actually the children are learning language like this, developing language like this. First of all, they have one word stage. One sentence, one utterance could be said with one word, sometimes one syllable. And after that, they develop two word stage. They go to two word stages and three word stages. And after that, they go to telegraphic stages like 35. The child who is in fact saying something like this, mommy push baby, is partly following the telegraphic speech. In the telegraphic speech, we do not have, let's say, little words like prepositions, we don't have particles, we don't have conjunctions, etc. We don't have ing forms, we don't have eds, etc. So the sentence appears to be only vocabulary and no grammar, okay, or little grammar, okay, and the grammatical elements and the functional elements, okay, and the content or function words are not present. That's why we have something like figure 5.2, which says some examples of English children elder sentences. Elder sentence of, in fact, children. The children could come to say bike, mommy, or crash up in, or haven't got. Or they say there a sea, there a sea. Okay, something like this. These are the examples that the children actually develop. Now we say, how does this kind of development in the children appear? From the beginning, where they have sort of no English, to the full competence like the adults. That's why we say something like the topic on page 207, complete from the beginning or developing with time. Are children actually complete from the beginning? It means, do they know everything about English? Or do they develop with time? They don't have something, and little by little, stage by stage, they actually develop, okay? Which kind of thing is there for the child? Going to page 207, exactly the paragraph which begins in the middle of the page says, the problem is how this stage relates to the adult grammar. So we have the earlier stages of the children development of language, like examples like 5.2, up to the time that the child is an adult learner, like an adult learner, and is able to say anything. This is important. So I'm repeating this part. The problem is how this stage of language acquisition relates to the adult grammar of linguistic competence toward which the child is heading. The child is heading to the in fact, develop the grammar of the adult speaker. Okay? So there are some possibilities. One possibility is that we call it full competence hypothesis. Full competence hypothesis. Okay? So if you want to see it, it actually appears on page 207, line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Is it 6 or 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Page 208, line 6. Full competence hypothesis. Okay? Or we can have something like gradual development hypothesis after that, which appears one line below it on page 208, which says gradual development hypothesis. Coming back to page 207, line 2 says something like full competence hypothesis. Let's see. One possibility is that the child is indeed trying to express the adult sentences, okay, but something makes them miss out. Something makes them miss out the grammatical inflections such as ing. Ing is an inflection, okay? Like instead of saying pushing, they say push, okay? Articles, they are missing articles such as the, such as an, such as a, okay? And the auxiliary is am, are, was, were, okay? But leave the content nouns like mommy and baby, okay? So they say mommy, baby, and make these things without inflections, without articles, without things, little things like that, which are elements of the grammar. Okay? What happens to the child? We say that, well, the child is indeed trying to express the adult sentence, but something makes them miss out these types of things. Grammatical inflections, articles, auxiliaries, etc., etc. What happens? They develop it little by they actually they are there, but actually develop over time to repeat them. So they have got it, but there's something which does not permit them to say, does not let them say. There's something that causes them neglect these elements. Okay? There's something like this. The next paragraph says about the second hypothesis, which appears on page 208, named gradual development hypothesis. Let us go to the second hypothesis, paragraph 2. Okay, the second paragraph in the middle of the page 207. Okay, so the second approach is like this. The alternative approach, the beginning of the paragraph, line 1. The alternative approach is to claim that the child has a unique grammar of their own that develops over time. So, first of all, we do not have these functional categories like inflections, like let's say auxiliaries, like let's say articles, etc. They develop over time. At first, they do not have it. The first idea, full competence, says no, everything is complete from the beginning, but there's something that misses out. These are the two possibilities that we have on page 207 and 8. Okay, so it's like this. Well, actually, we are not going to, in fact, say which one is right, which one is not right, because they need, in fact, careful attention and very careful investigation. And actually, we are going to talk about other good things about child language acquisition. So for now, it is only okay to say there are two, in fact, hypotheses. Okay, there are two approaches that the children actually develop: full competence hypothesis or gradual development hypothesis. Both of them for L1 acquisition. Okay, for L1 acquisition. What does it mean? Child language acquisition. What does it mean? How the children actually develop language. Okay, this is something that is out there. I'm going to finish this discussion on page 208 with line 5 to the bottom of page 208. Let us see. The full competence hypothesis, 5 lines to the bottom of page 208. The full competence hypothesis insists that functional categories are present in the child's grammar from the beginning. Okay? The gradual development hypothesis, that functional categories are initially missing and develop over time. That's it. We don't want to, in fact, say which one is good, which one is bad. It's like teaching methodology. We are not going to say one method or one approach is good and the other is bad. We want to say that we are doing the best of everything. We are taking the best of everything for ourselves, for our students. So that's why we are going to go to the next discussion and finish everything like this up to page 209.